Hi everyone, and welcome to the Caring for Our Watersheds final competition. My name is Chloe Sprecher, and I am the Education Program Coordinator at Nutrien. I'm responsible for leading program development and supporting our partner organizations in executing Caring for Our Watersheds in their respective regions. You may not know this, but Nutrien is the program founder and the primary sponsor of Caring for Our Watersheds. And we couldn't be prouder to support this amazing program and your environmental solutions. At Nutrien, our purpose is to grow our world from the ground up. As the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services, Nutrien plays a critical role in feeding the future by helping growers increase food production in a sustainable manner that protects our land, air, and water for generations to come. Environmental stewardship is a key focus area for our community investments and for our overarching sustainability strategy. We also recognize the role that all of you play in a healthy future for our industry and our planet as tomorrow's decision makers. You are also stakeholders in society right now, and you have the power to create positive, lasting change in your communities and beyond. We all have a role to play as individuals, schools, communities, business, nonprofit, and governments to protect and improve our local watersheds. Caring for Our Watersheds was started in 2007, nearly 15 years ago, in the Battle River Watershed in Alberta, Canada. After a 3-year pilot, the program was expanded and now includes 9 contests around the world. Our contest regions continue to grow as well, and we will reach over 35,000 students this year who have participated in the program since 2007. Caring for Our Watersheds has also created lasting impact for our program participants by teaching real-life skills that you can put on your resume or college application, like researching, planning, budgeting, written and verbal communication. There's opportunity to work with and develop relationships with community experts. In some cases, the program has led to students realizing a passion, expanding their idea, or even pursuing careers and other opportunities in the environmental space, all stemming from their participation in Caring for Our Watersheds. Most importantly, I hope this program teaches students like you that you can make a difference. Caring for Our Watersheds would not be possible without community support. Our partner organizations working directly with you, teachers, parents, mentors, judges, volunteers, and community partners, over 150 community partners across our contests, come together because we believe in your ideas and we want to help support you in making that difference. We have implemented over 500 student-led action projects to date. If you have not already done so, I hope that I've inspired you to take advantage of the support and the implementation funding available and make your project a reality. Implementing your environmental solution is where the tangible, lasting impact occurs for your personal growth, for your watershed, and for your community. Today is the day to celebrate your environmental solutions, your hard work, and your major accomplishment of having a top idea among the many good ideas that we receive. Congratulations to all of you. You are all winners. Have fun today.
Well, good morning again, everyone. My name is Sue Bouchard, and I am the program coordinator for the Caring for Our Watersheds Saskatchewan contest. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which most of us are speaking from today is Treaty 6 territory, the traditional territory of Cree peoples and the homeland of the Métis. We are also joined by others on Treaty 4 territory and the traditional territory of the Cree and Saulteaux, Assiniboine, and Métis. I'd like to welcome you all to the Caring for Our Watersheds Saskatchewan final competition. You are all part of this history-making oral competition, as this is the first one held virtually due to COVID-19. Despite the challenges it has brought us all, we have had a wonderful year filled with creative and exciting solutions to environmental concerns that the students are seeing in their watersheds. As program coordinator, it is my privilege and absolute pleasure to help students as they discover what they can do to help their watershed. We couldn't hold this competition without our amazing community judges, and I'd like to introduce you to them right now. Serena Gersher. Living in Saskatoon, Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis, Serena has been proud to call Saskatoon home. In 2016, Serena was elected to Saskatoon City Council as Ward 8's councillor. Raised by her immigrant parents and grandparents, Serena feels a multi-generational connection to the ward's diverse and vibrant community. Serena can be seen volunteering at a number of community events and for a variety of causes. She enjoys playing soccer and supporting local businesses. She is a proud University of Saskatchewan graduate and has a far-reaching understanding of different cultures and approaches to problem solving gained through extensive world travel. She is a member of the Meewasin Valley Authority Board of Directors and Partners for the Saskatchewan River Basin. Serena is a GIS analyst, which means she makes maps, with expertise in environmental studies. Thank you, Serena. Robert Halliday. Bob is the president of R. Halliday and Associates and has practiced as a consulting engineer in Saskatoon for more than 20 years. He previously worked for Environment Canada and is a former director of Canada's National Hydrology Research Centre. His interests concern interjurisdictional water management, floodplain management, and effects of climate change on water resources. He has served on international joint commission boards and other Canada-United States water-related entities. He is a former alternate member of the Prairie Provinces Water Board and was a founding member of the Advisory Council for International Project WET, a water education initiative. He has also consulted overseas, primarily in Latin America and China. Bob is currently the board chair of Partners for the Saskatchewan River Basin. Thank you, Bob. Dara Semchishan. Dara is a safety specialist for the Canadian terminals. She has been with Nutrien for 3 years. Prior to working with the terminals, she spent 5 years underground at the Nutrien Vanscoy potash mine as a safety consultant and trainer. In her free time, she likes to enjoy time at the lake with family and friends. Thank you, Dara. The Honorable Erica Ritchie. Erica was elected MLA for Saskatoon-Nutana in 2020. She is the opposition critic for Environment, Energy and Resources, Sask Water, Water Security Agency, and Sask Energy. She is a community leader, environmental engineer, and longtime Saskatoon resident. As an environmental engineer, Erica has worked in both the public and private sector to advance climate action, environmental protection, and sustainable resource development. She has formed valuable relationships with Indigenous communities and has made sure that resource development respects the rights of Indigenous peoples and land. Through her activism, Erica has advanced the interests and rights of workers and ensured the environment is treated responsibly and sustainably. She prides herself on standing up for workers and her community. As the mother of 4 grown children, Erica's experience extends to raising a family and a desire to protect future generations. Thank you, Erica. Teresa Usselman. Teresa has worked at the Nutrien Watson site for 6 years. She lives on a grain farm and enjoys spending time with her 4 grandchildren, gardening, and fishing at the Northern Lakes. Thank you, Teresa. Twyla Yob. Twyla works for the City of Saskatoon and is an environmental engineer and biologist. She is called the Watershed Protection Manager, which means that she gets to work on many different kinds of projects that are linked to the health of our watershed. Right now, she is working on a brownfield strategy and a green infrastructure strategy, standards for development near natural areas, environmental guidelines for contractors, and park irrigation using stormwater. At home, her favorite things include pets, gardening, and sculpture. She is delighted to act as a judge for Caring for Watersheds competition, as she enjoys hearing the ideas and enthusiasm from the participants. She wishes all participants the best of luck with their projects. Thank you, Twyla.
Hi, my name is Jessa.
Hi, my name is Jazzy. We are both really glad to be presenting our idea to you today and are so grateful to have this opportunity. Our idea was to make a children's book about plastic called A Plastic Place. The book will also include a PowerPoint to go with it. There are so many ways that plastic affects everything. It poisons our food chain, threatens wildlife, spoils underground water, and so much more. This makes it a threat to humans and our environment. Children aren't getting taught a whole lot about this stuff, like the effects it has on the environment and how they can help. As children get older, they may learn a few things about it, but it's best to know about this topic at a young age in order to help and make a difference. Our plan is to encourage children to use less single-use plastic and to teach good recycling habits. We want to promote good behavior for younger minds. If you want to make a real difference, you will need to make it accessible and free for everyone to use. So that's what we are going to do. We have put together a digital storybook and an informational PowerPoint to teach children about plastic. By doing this, it ensures that all classrooms in the GSCS community will have access to it. By having a children's book, kids will improve their reading skills, but also stay engaged because of the rhyming. Many children don't want to learn about something if it's boring for them, but by making a rhyming book with pictures, they will stay engaged. This will lead them to care more about the environment and be more interested in plastic. Children books are always engaging because of the pictures and the descriptions. Children love storybooks, which will lead them to focus more on the message. If we want a change to come, we have to teach children that there is a serious problem in the environment and they can help fix it. Right now, these kids are the new generation, and we need them to know about plastic harms as soon as they can. We depend on them for the world's future, so making a children's book would have the best impact.
A PowerPoint is a great way to expand on the information included in the book. This will be helpful to kids, teachers, or anyone interested. The PowerPoint will include additional information like what positive changes they can do to help or what may happen in the future if they don't. This information may be facts that will further change your mindset and relationship to plastic. Here are a few pictures of our book. It's not final yet, and we'll be adding a few more slides. We feel as though targeting younger children with this information will help them make better choices as they grow up. Then they will be taught at a younger age that water pollution is bad. Once they get older and start to buy things on their own, they will lean towards better choices, suggest buying in bulk, using reusable bags instead of plastic ones, and many other things that may have a positive impact on our environment. We will be posting this on the GSCS website for the teachers to have access to. We've emailed the principal to get the go-ahead to post it there. In conclusion, we think our idea is valuable because we are presenting important information, and we believe that younger children will have an open mindset for learning about this topic and for discussion. Lastly, our project is cost-free, so there will be no extra payments.
Thank you very much, Jazzy and Jessa. That was a really informative presentation. I'm wanting to know how much your book is going to, or in what ways it's going to focus on educating the readers on the alternatives they might be able to use instead of plastics.
So there's in the PowerPoint, there's a few like videos and just stuff from like YouTube. And there's like little fun games they can play to like reduce plastic. So like there might be like challenges and stuff that they can do, and if they accomplish them, whatever, the teachers can decide what the prizes are or whatever. But yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Go ahead, Twyla.
Hey there. I wasn't quite sure how to signal that I wanted to talk, so I hope that worked.
Yeah.
I'm interested in knowing a little bit more about what ages you're targeting and what it sounds like it's going to be on all digital platforms. And are you looking at one particular way to distribute your book, or is it going to be available in a variety of different places like YouTube, Instagram, all of that kind of stuff?
So for the age, we were thinking for like younger kids, so probably like 5 or like 6 years old to like maybe like 10, around that kind of age group. And then we haven't thought about posting it on like social media, but we'll consider doing that.
I do have one more question, and this was something that was mentioned in your presentation. But first, I want to say that was a great presentation, and I appreciated the clarification that there's some parts that are interactive as well. But one thing that I missed that was there was some of the goals that you wanted in teaching kind of lessons or this information to the younger folks. I was just wondering if you could repeat it. I think there was 3 points that you were hoping to reach as a goal of the book or as an outcome.
I think I can't really remember which slide it was on, but I think it was just like getting younger kids to like realize that there is a problem, because most of them don't really know that there is. And then like potentially like this is kind of like weird, but like pressuring them into doing things, like not pressuring them, but like just saying things that may help it, and if they want to try it and they can try it. And just I think teaching younger kids about it, because they're more like, I guess, vulnerable to new ideas. So if we can tell them that there is a problem going on in like a fun way, such as a book, then I feel like there could be like they could do better things as they grow up.
And I think there was some examples that you were providing within the book as well as kind of solutions.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. That was great. Yeah.
It's time to save our watershed. Hello, my name is Cheyenne Magnus. I am a grade 11 student at Lord Asquith School, and I live in the North Saskatchewan River watershed. I believe we are throwing out many items that are actually recyclable, and our landfills are overfull. Have you ever been writing something when suddenly your pen dies? What a shame, now you must throw it away. It's only one pen after all. But is it really just one pen when 1 million other people are saying the same thing? Did you know that 1.6 billion pens are thrown out per year in Canada? Did you also know they can be recycled? I am implementing recycling bins in each classroom at Lord Asquith School for pens, mechanical pencils, markers, and other writing utensils, so they do not end up in our landfills. I will be using TerraCycle through Staples to do this. It's one small step closer to solving the huge waste problem. My project falls under 3 Sustainable Development Goals, 12, 13, and 15. Goal 12 is to reduce waste generation and inform people about recycling. Goal 13 is to stop climate change. When plastics are in the oceans and other bodies of water, they release greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are a part of why climate change is happening. Goal 15 is taking action to reduce the loss of natural habitats. The more we recycle, the less that will end up in our landfills, therefore saving countless habitats. When these plastics are thrown into our landfills, harmful chemicals are in our soil, air, and water supply as they decay over many years. When these chemicals get into our systems, they have many harmful effects on our bodies. These plastics are very difficult to recycle because it's hard to identify what type of plastic they are. TerraCycle has taken it upon themselves to recycle these hard plastics. They test these plastics, separate them according to their types. The plastics are then shredded and melted to make new products. I've talked with my principal, Mr. Brett Kirk. He has given me permission to implement a pen, mechanical pencil, and other writing utensil recycling system at our school. I am currently working with Staples to get our school into their program, as well as getting their special recycling bins. I've been in contact with Loras Recycling. Loras has offered to do a Zoom call yearly with our school to help educate our students about recycling and recycling problems. Recycling programs are very poorly advertised in our small communities. When I hand out the bins to each class, I will educate them on why it's important to recycle our pens and pencils. I will record how our bins are doing for the next year. I will show the results to the Prairie Spirit School Division. I hope that our Prairie Spirit School Division will implement this program into other schools throughout the school division. If our school division proves to be doing well, I would then like to extend this program to other school divisions. There are many different outcomes from this small change. The first outcome would be that our provincial government would encourage recycling facilities to recycle these plastics. Another is that pen companies would create their own recycling programs for their products, as they know what kind of plastics are being used to create these products and could easily reuse them to make new ones. Nothing will ever change if we don't. It's time to spark change in the hearts of our communities. The schools hold our future generations, so we need to educate them on how to keep our planet clean, in hopes that they will make better decisions than our past generations. It's one small step of many, so let's take it together and create a cleaner, healthier environment. Thank you.
I do have a question. In the outcomes that you mentioned, you talked about government having more of, I guess, an active role around this specific stream of recycling. And I was wondering if you were planning on sharing your results with either your MLA or your local government as well, if you were considering that.
So yeah, if our school division proves to be recycling a lot more of these hard plastics, I would then take it and go to different government places and be like, hey, look at how much we're recycling. Do you think this is something you guys might want to use as well? And hopefully provincial wide, we'll be able to recycle more than we are now.
Thanks so much for the presentation and for your work.
Thanks.
Where are those sent for recycling?
Sorry?
Where do those get sent for recycling?
I think that, so I'll be taking them into Staples on the west side. And then I know that their program, they use TerraCycle, and I'm pretty sure that it's shipped somewhere into Ontario or Quebec, which is why I feel that if all of a sudden Saskatchewan was starting to recycle a lot more of these products and stuff, that maybe eventually we wouldn't have to ship to other provinces and that we could be more sustainable here in our own province.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Bob.
I'm just curious. I should say I've just finished fishing a plastic pen out of my wastebasket as I'm sitting here. But did you have to talk Staples into accepting pens, or do they normally accept pens for recycling?
So they have a program already set up. I just found it and decided I wanted to use it. And so I'm just working with them right now, trying to get my school all set up with them. And so like even after this, I'm still going to continue working with them.
Thank you. Very nice presentation.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering, thank you very much, Cheyenne, for the presentation. I'm wondering though, is if you had investigated options for reducing the amount of plastic that's being created, or what some alternatives might be for disposable pens and pencils.
Yeah, so I looked up things like fountain pens and like reusable like inks and stuff like that. And I realized that in my own school, there's not a lot of families that have a lot of money. Like we do have a lot of poorer families. And so it's easier for them to simply go and get the cheaper pens rather than going and buying these big expensive pens because they don't always have the money to do it. Which is why personally in my school, this program is going to work really well because we're still being able to recycle and reuse things without them having to spend a ton of money.
Well, thanks for that. It's an interesting. I like how you sort of described that thought process you went through to sort of think through, what was going to be workable in your case. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
We humans never pay attention to our most valuable resource, water. Not only that, but we ignore how much we wasted throughout our daily lives. An example would be when filling up our water bottle at the water fountain in schools and workplaces. We have a plan to fix this issue. We want to work on this specific topic because we thought about how much water gets wasted in public places like schools. We expect this issue to spread mindfulness and for more people to consider the wastage of water through a water fountain.
Our problem here is that there usually isn't a proper water bottle dispenser. For example, in our school, there are only 2 of these dispensers, but at most of the fountains there aren't. Although there are 2 of these dispensers at our school, it isn't always accessible to go up and down the stairs or walk across a long hallway just because the water fountain near your class doesn't have a dispenser. Not only does the bottle not get filled up when people fill up their usable bottles, but they have to bend it and aim the bottle and water is wasted in aiming it in. We did this to help society for the better in the short and long term. That's why we chose to do this.
Having a disposable water bottle also doesn't really help. Firstly, you pay for it every time out of pocket. With a reusable, it's a one-time purchase. Secondly, lots of chemicals and gases are released into the atmosphere in the making of disposable bottles. They harm the environment, and keep in mind, these bottles also harm the environment if not disposed of properly. In our school, due to COVID-19, students cannot drink from water fountains. So our school has been providing disposable bottles for them. With our implementation, we encourage students to start bringing reusable bottles now because they can fill them up anytime. This was because we were concerned about the plastic pollution problem. This is a serious threat for marine life and also our watersheds. Keep in mind, plastic does pollute normal water as well as it decomposes.
Our solution is to install gooseneck fountains at the water fountains. They're a bit expensive, but get to the point of what we want to accomplish. We also couldn't find them at Home Depot, Canadian Tire, or Lowe's, so that's why we bought them from Amazon, where they are the cheapest. Our plan was to order them and get them installed in 3 different places throughout our school. Our solution was also a reasonable approach. The electric fountains need more maintenance and are more expensive. They also aren't practical for schools as they have been installed in YMCA once, but have broken very easily. Let's just say it wasn't pleasant paying all of the costs. These water dispensers will make a huge difference compared to the regular ones. As for electrical stations, we saw the estimated cost is around $850 plus, and their installation cost is also more expensive. So this can demonstrate that our solution is the most reasonable yet water saving. As you can see on the implementation chart, the parts with 3 gooseneck fountains, the parts price with taxes concluded $849.14. The installation costs were $346, and the total cost resulted in $1,195.14. To get the money, we had a fundraiser at our school. We raised $1,076, and after the cost for the fundraiser, we had $672 left. We used this money for the cost, and our teacher, Mrs. Takir, paid for the rest. There was also trouble in finding a COVID-19 appropriate way to raise money, but we were able to figure out a pre-ordered snack sale fundraiser. There's 3 images on the screen. The first one is a Hikma building water filler that are mainly used by grades 3 and 4s. The second one is the Cordoba building water filler on the main floor that are mainly used by grades 6 and 7. And the third one is the Cordoba building water filler on the 3rd floor that are mainly used by grades 9 to 12.
Why we wanted to do this. We also wanted to solve the plastic pollution problem. However, before this pandemic, our school did allow drinking from water fountains and they were not providing disposable bottles. However, for the short term, this was a serious problem, so we decided to take action. This also applies to the long-term effects. After COVID-19, people are still going to have reusable bottles and they are going to have to fill them up. Now water isn't being wasted without the gooseneck fountains currently and even after this pandemic. Also, in this exact way, we help with water pollution. Now, ultimately, also our watersheds. We aren't losing water unnecessarily. This is why we wanted to do this specifically. Clean water and sanitation. This goal is mainly about people having a lack of clean water and sanitation. Our gooseneck fountains are now saving clean, pure drinking water. Climate action. The making of plastic bottle contributes to climate change. Reducing the purchase is reducing the need to make more, and that helps with climate action. Life below water. As we mentioned about plastic bottles being a serious threat for marine life, hear this. 1/3 of all plastic litter in oceans is from plastic bottles. These were the Sustainable Development Goals that interlined with our project. These are our images references.
And thank you for listening to our presentation.
I just wanted to say that I really thoroughly enjoyed that presentation. It looks like you guys have not only come up with a project, but have implemented it already and found a sponsor for the funds you needed to finish it. So that's really impressive. I just had some follow-up questions about kind of monitoring the success of your project. Is there anything that you're going to or planning to do to take a look at how much this water might save and communicate that up? This sounds like something you could use to help influence other schools implement your solution.
We actually never really looked at that, like how much water they are saving now. So yeah, we do know like there's 2 already in our school, so people were using them, you know, responsibly. Like, you know, other classes were coming to fill them up where they were water bottle dispensers, but we don't know like what's happening now, especially since our school closed shortly after that.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. You guys did a great job.
Yes, it's Bob here. Thank you for that presentation. My question was similar to Twyla's. I was wondering if you, with the 3 fountains, whether you've done any observations or surveys that say, is it the older kids that are adapting first or the younger kids? Do you have a feel for that?
We feel like it's the younger kids for some reason, but we don't really know because we never saw it yet.
Yeah.
Because all the water fountains that we installed, they're actually not even near our classes as well.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah.
I'd just like to say good on you for scoring a sponsorship from your teacher too. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Anas and Rafi, thank you so much. You've really shown a lot of drive here in your implementation. The question I had for you is around your fundraiser. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how that came together, that and how you implemented that fundraiser.
Okay, sure. So like basically we knew what the costs were like and we needed the money. So we decided to do a fundraiser. So, you know, first we also had to get permission from our teachers. She said yes to it, but then when we gave our idea to the principal to see if she agrees with it, that was where, you know, the trouble happened. First we gave an idea, we'll you know, make a cart and go to every class and sell our stuff, and then she said no, because of COVID you guys can't do that. So then after we said why not we set up a table and, you know, we get classes by classes to come socially distant. Then she said, no, the thing is, we don't want you interacting with them. So then after we told her, why not, can we make, a pre-ordered snack sale form, like we gave out the forms a week before. Students, decided to, the students chose what they wanted to get, like the prices were there, you could choose the quantity, the items were there, and then after we got the forms a week later, we collected the money and bought the stuff and gave it to the classes in separate bags a week later. Yeah. So that's how we did the fundraiser.
Well, it shows a lot of persistence. Where there's a will, there's a way. Good on you guys.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Sarah, and we are the writer
and illustrator of our children's book, Finny and Frank's Adventure.
Our watershed is the South Saskatchewan River located in the center of our city. About 50% of the provincial population uses water from our watershed. The problem is, though, our watershed is facing many health risks, such as pollution, habitat loss, and overuse of water.
This contest was very exciting for the both of us. Thinking of an idea to help our environment and then implementing it is super cool. We knew that if we wanted a chance to place top 10, we would need to do something we both like and are good at. Creating a book was our final option, since I like to draw and paint and Sarah likes to write and read.
Up until we started this project, we had no idea that when things flow down a storm drain, like litter and puppy waste, it doesn't get cleaned. Instead, it goes straight into the river. So every time you make paper boats and watch them race down the road on a rainy day, they go straight into the river. This can cause unhealthy and dirty water for the environment around our watershed. That harms not only us, but the animals who live there.
We had three main objectives we wanted this book to cover. First was to spread our learnings about sewer drains. Like we said before, neither of us knew that nothing gets cleaned in the sewer drains. Second was to get the community involved. One person can't make a huge impact alone, so we need our whole community to help. Third was to educate through entertainment. I haven't met a single person that enjoys learning without a little fun and color. By adding frogs, mushroom houses, and color, the information will stick a little bit more with the reader. We are also hoping our book will help flourish more ideas on ways to help with the reader.
Our book is made to advertise the problem and give a solution in about 10 pages and 200 words. We want our readers to understand the issue so that one day they can help the environment, specifically our watershed. We are also hoping that in the future they will be more careful about how they deal with their garbage.
The budget is moderate. We are planning on making more of a homemade, authentic look for the book. I've decided to hand paint and illustrate the pages to lower the price. Thank goodness for my artistic skills. Sarah has used their super smart writing skills to write sentences that will be added into the book.
Our book briefly covers 3 of United Nations 17 sustainability goals. It includes goal number 3, good health and well-being. The healthier our watershed is, the healthier and happier we will be. Goal number 6 is clean water and sanitization. Having clean storm drains means cleaner water. And lastly, goal number 11 is sustainable cities and communities. Sustainable cities could include many things, some of which would be clean water, a healthy environment, and happy people. Those are all benefits to having clean storm drains.
We have been given permission by our vice principal to make 1 copy of our book for each class in grade 1 to 5. She has also said we could get it in our school library. We wanted to read it aloud to classes as well, but with COVID, it wouldn't be safe. So instead, we are hoping to do a Zoom meeting with the classes to make multiple copies of our book for our school. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sarah's going to copy the pages digitally and paint it that way. This process has just begun, so it's not completed yet, but it'll be done by June 1st or earlier. And I'll show you the pages that we have currently. This is the front page. This is where they find the storm drain and they are curious about it, so they go down. This is where they find how polluted it is and how dirty it is. Yeah. This is when they find the entrance, or like the exit, I meant. Yeah, and they're on their way to tell their little town of frogs. And this is them explaining the situation. This is them cleaning up. And we're still working on the pages. We'd like to thank you for listening to our presentation. Hopefully our ideas can inspire younger children to make good changes in the future. We hope that you enjoyed viewing the pages as well as listening to our presentation. Thank you.
I want to know where I can get a copy of this book when it's done.
We can probably send you one.
Awesome. Thanks very much, you guys. That was a nice presentation. I really love your artwork.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's terrific pictures. I really enjoyed it.
I've got one question. I too really enjoyed the artwork and the consideration put into the book. You certainly described all of your steps, and it was very clear, but I'm wondering if there was any part that you came across that was a challenge, that was maybe unexpected, or the kind of most difficult part within the project scope that you've presented.
Trying to find a story and like putting it together as well, that's really hard, and also finding motivation, because when you're like, if it's like a month long, you have to do it, it's like pretty fast, it goes pretty like really fast, right? So doing that, it's really hard. Also trying to get work in while you're at school, because our teacher was nice and considerate and let us work on it, but there wasn't a lot of days. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That I appreciate the energy and the momentum you've been able to bring, and kind of that completion date of June 1st. The other question I had was, whether you'd get to read to classes, and you already addressed that in your presentation. So thank you so much.
No problem.
I'd like to ask a question. Yeah, Caitlin and Sarah, wonderful presentation. I love the frog hats. Those are a nice touch. And I like how you got in. You showed what it looks like inside those storm drains, and the visuals are really engaging. I was wondering though if what consideration you'd put into scaling up your idea. It's great that you want to make these books for the classrooms at your school. Did you think about how you might be able to reach a broader audience?
Kind of. I've been thinking about it. So basically, if it does well in our school, I was hoping that we could probably get it in public libraries, and I'll like call public libraries and ask, as well as try and get them into other schools.
All right, great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and my project is the Waste Reducers. I believe in my idea, and I'm excited to share it with you today. In Canada, an estimated 3.3 million tons of plastic waste ends up in landfills each year, and it never goes away. This affects our watersheds by landfill leachate, litter, and could blow off landfills and drift into water systems. This plastic is harming ecosystems and causing new diseases in the world's biodiversity. If we keep this up, we'll run into even more problems in the future. Because of this problem, I made a website called the Waste Reducers. The plan is to act on the issues created by plastic waste and garbage in a way that will appeal to kids and teens. The website I have created is a way kids and teens can earn prizes while also helping the community and raising awareness. This program could also be used as an outlet during the pandemic to get kids engaged with nature and activities in a COVID-friendly manner. I'll provide information and cool tasks to help out the environment. This will be a helpful website and a cool way to find tips to create a positive change in our watershed. Here's a visual of what tasks may look like for the website. It will assign tasks for you, and you'll be able to get a certain amount of points for completing them. From creative tasks on the website, like for example, create a craft something in the recycle bin, we can find ways to reduce the amount of waste that gets in our landfills. Another task, like have your parent go to a bulk store to buy groceries, is a way we can promote both stores. How does the online website work? The website has activities, challenges, and tasks you can complete daily. By completing tasks, you can win eco-friendly prizes and using your points. Whoever does the greatest number of tasks throughout a period of time can win a larger prize of some form. Once you complete a task, you can post it on the website so other people can see the challenges you've completed and hard work you've done to help out. I'm planning on getting recognition and possibly a grant from Eco-Friendly Sask and Sask Outdoors by getting in contact with them. By emailing the 2 school divisions, I can send posters to the school board to set up in hallways and possibly have them post on their school newsletter to attract more attention to the website.
Caitlin, change your slide.
Sorry. I believe the Waste Reducers website can spark positive change. The prizes for the website will be reusable replacements for single-use plastics that will encourage waste-free living, like water bottles or tote bags. This website can positively contribute to the amount of waste that gets thrown away every year. The more students involved, the more powerful the impact. The Waste Reducers project falls under Sustainable Development Goal 12 and 13. We're trying to reduce as much waste that ends up affecting our ecosystems and try to prevent the amount of plastic being made, as well as to support the responsible production as shown in plenty of my tasks. We can achieve a better future ahead. By making eco choices, this will reduce the amount of productions of goods needed, thereby reducing CO2 emissions. Solicit the community for prizes or donations using a donation letter that talks about the Waste Reducers is one way I can earn my funding. A place for donating will also be attached to the website. By hopefully getting a grant from Eco-Friendly Sask and Nutrien, it will help make the prize system possible. Doing a bottle drive is also a way I can get money to do prizes, but COVID restrictions might alter doing so. My plan to make long-term change is something I believe in, and if I plan to bring this forward, I feel this would make a huge change in the community. Other things like our donation letter, getting help from Eco-Friendly Sask, Sask Outdoors, and Nutrien, and possibly bottle drives. This can all bring me to my goal. Thanks for listening to my presentation, and together we can make a huge difference.
I was wondering, and you may have stated this already, but you made it sound like there would be a way for folks that were engaged in the website to maybe have a competition or see what other folks are doing. Could you explain a little bit more about that if you don't mind?
Yeah. So basically, about like weekly, there will be like competitions, like whoever can complete the most tasks can win like an eco-friendly prize. And like that could be like water bottles or tote bags. So yeah.
That's great. Thanks so much for your presentation.
Caitlin, I was wondering if you could tell me a bit more about the logistics of getting the website up and running, and also whether people have the ability to kind of have an account so that when they have the weekly competitions, you can have a bit of that tracking, or they have a personal record of what they've done for their waste reduction.
Yeah, I'm planning on making accounts, like learning how to code like with classes. And so like it will remember like all their progress. Yeah, I think, wait, was there another question?
A bit about the logistics of getting the website up. And so I think you said that you're going to learn to code to actually create the website. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the presentation.
No, I had a similar question about getting the website up and running. I guess the other part of that is, when you do that, can you arrange to track the participants to see where they're from and that sort of thing as well, and how many people are engaging?
I haven't really thought about that, but I'll definitely keep that in mind when like making the website.
Thank you.
I might have missed it, but how much costs will be involved in establishing the website?
Well, like getting the website up, that's free, but like doing the prizes will cost money. And like I'm planning on delivering the prizes like through the school system. But yeah, hopefully I get like a grant or anything like to do that as well.
Okay, good. Thank you. I love, just by the way, I really love the incentive aspect to this project, because I think it's you know, a really great way to engage people. So great idea, Caitlin. Well done.
Pollination Station. Promoting pollination in the local watershed. I would first off like to acknowledge that I'm on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis, as we pay our respect to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place to reaffirm our relationship with one another. A watershed, by definition, is all the land that flows into the same body of water. I'm a citizen of the city of Saskatoon, and my watershed is the South Saskatchewan River watershed. Pollinators have been decreasing in North America since 1995. This is caused by land use and agricultural management, such as fertilizers and pesticides. The Meewasin Valley Authority has been working very hard with the city of Saskatoon to ensure there's minimal development along the shoreline. This doesn't mean development isn't an issue. In the last couple of years, I've noticed the Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan and the Jim Pasden Hospital both been built very close to the shoreline. On the right, you see a graph showing the insect decline in the last decade. Butterflies have declined by 53%, and bees, which are the highest pollinators in the world, by 46%. Pollination is the act of moving pollen from one plant to another. 85% of plants rely on pollinators for pollination. Pollination is essentially how plants will reproduce. My pollination boxes will include plants that best work with prairie pollinators, with the goal of inviting more prairie pollinators to the river valley. I'm working with Meewasin to identify 3 locations along the trail. These could include Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan, Capilano Trail, and the Northeast Swale to put my box. This will all lead to a healthier watershed. For example, the swallowtail butterfly, which is native to Saskatchewan, plays a major role in the life cycle of bellflowers by being one of its major pollinators, and bellflowers will be included in my box. On the right, you see my box in my backyard. Obviously, it can't have stuff in it currently because it is still freezing overnight. Promoting pollinators will have many benefits. It will lead to healthier vegetation, which will decrease erosion and decrease pesticides in the water. It will also invite more biodiversity into the river valley, which will in the end all lead to a healthier river valley. Decrease erosion. When plants are healthy, they have more complex root systems, and these complex root systems can help prevent erosion along the shoreline. In Saskatoon, we use our river valley for many recreational purposes, such as mountain biking, and this can cause erosion. So by having healthier vegetation, we can prevent some of that erosion from happening. Erosion can decrease crop activity, and in Saskatchewan, where 44% of our exports in 2018 were crops, we can't afford to suffer a loss like this. So not only does my box benefit the environment, but it also benefits the economy. Decreasing pesticide in the water. More vegetation along the shoreline creates a lower chance of pesticides getting into the water. And when these pesticides enter the water, it can create unhealthy bacteria such as algae, which can kill animals and other river creatures. I've seen this happen firsthand by participating in the Yellowfish Road program. And it is crazy how many people are unaware of this issue. On the left, you see a photo of how these plant root systems can help with chemical breakdown before entering the river through runoff. Inviting biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety of life in the world. And my box will invite multiple different species into the river valley, which will, in the end, again, lead to a healthier river valley. You can see on the right what's called the biodiversity web. This is essentially explaining how everything requires everything to survive. Each box will cost $193.73. I'll be asking Nutrien to fund 2 of the boxes and will be using my own money for the other 2. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. What I just said to you was the 15th Sustainable Development Goal made by United Nations. called Life on the Land. My box highly contributes to all aspects of this goal. As you can see, my box will benefit the environment through things like decreasing erosion, decreasing pesticides in our water, and inviting more biodiversity, which will in the end all lead to a healthier river valley. Thanks for listening. Are there any questions?
Great presentation, and lots of good relevant information there for us to understand the importance of pollination. I'm a little bit unclear though in terms of how the boxes themselves will actually be deployed and how they'll contribute to promoting pollination.
Okay, so all the boxes will include many plants that are native to Saskatchewan, and these plants are proven to work well for pollination with native prairie pollinators. So by putting them along the shoreline, these prairie pollinators will be attracted to those plants, so they will come to the river valley, creating healthier vegetation.
And is it the intention that you'll supply the materials, and then who's going to actually install them?
So I'll be installing each of the boxes, just using cedar wood planks, and still working with Meewasin to find those 3 locations along the trails to install them, and I will care for them all summer long.
Oh, that sounds great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Jacob, thank you for the presentation. I appreciate the kind of tie back to our local native prairie system and ensuring the ecological health of our ecosystem. Kind of in follow up to Erica's question, after this summer, I understand you'll be taking the maintenance and the care of the boxes. What would happen kind of moving after that, for the summer after and summers following?
Yeah, so I'll continue to care for them for quite a while. So the one in my backyard will always be cared for, and then if the ones by the Meewasin Trail begin to weather, then that's when we can sort of just move to the one in the backyard and keep promoting it there.
And this might be a silly question on my end, but based on the material that you're planting, do you anticipate that it'll need kind of watering or pruning? Like, does it involve a lot of your time to go out there, or does it not need as much because you've picked kind of strategic planting?
Yeah, so the planting does not require constant watering. It will be able to sustain itself through rainfall. I will go out weekly to remove weeds from the boxes, but that'll be really all the maintenance it will require.
Wonderful. I definitely ask another question, but I'll leave space for the other judges. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I was wondering, it's Bob here. Thank you for that presentation. And I was wondering if your boxes are designed to attract specific pollinators, or whether it's kind of something that just generally should be attractive to several different kinds of pollinators.
So yeah, it's designed to attract many different prairie pollinators, with this idea of inviting, multiple different species to obtain more biodiversity in the river valley. So it will be attracting many different pollinators.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say thank you so much. I really enjoyed that presentation. I really like plants and pollinators, so it really is close to my heart as well. And I just want to encourage you that when you get these boxes set up, it would be great if you could record your observations and how they work and share that. If you do that, and then maybe share that with the other people in your class, might be other people who could take them over if you aren't going to do them someday. There's ways to scale this up. We'll need to think about that. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Are you planning, Jacob, to add any education material to the box? So anybody walking through the river valley can learn a bit more about what you're doing?
Yeah, so my plan was to put kind of just like a bit of a sort of small sign by each box saying, caring for our watersheds contest, and just giving them kind of like why it's there, essentially, just talking about the pollinator issue and how we can help with it. Yeah.
Wonderful. That sounds great.
Hi, my name is Byron, and I'm excited to share my proposal with you. Why is this project important to me? Well, a lot of people don't know what a watershed is and the impacts on the environment, and it is important to me that we have a broader discussion, both locally and internationally, about the importance of our local watershed. Music has always been a part of my life and a way to express myself. It's also been an outlet for me to tell stories, and I'd like to tell a story that will eventually change the world. The scope of my project is to bring awareness to the Saskatchewan watersheds and let my listeners know about the issues we face locally and how they can start living more sustainably. To do this, I want to stream a new album I've been working on for the past few months about to convey the importance of the watershed, what it is, and how everyone can, start participating in living sustainably. My goal is to get it played on the radio too. So yeah, how to make this idea real? I intend to use free promotion, such as posting it on social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube, TikTok, and I want to stream this album on Spotify/Apple Music so it can be shared to a bigger audience. This helped me build an audience outside of social media. My primary goal is to contact radio stations and tell them about my project and how I'm interested in playing my album to promote the watersheds and protecting it and the positive impact it have on our city. I will do this with the help of Nutrien, an international company that is funding this program. I have spoken with Jared Robinson, a professional music producer from Moose Jaw, who has won several awards for his albums. We've discussed my album and the best ways to promote it. He gives me some great advice on how to spread the word. Now, sustainable development goal. I have good health and well-being, quality education, clean water, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, climate action, life below water, and life on land. If you want me to go over these after, I am more than happy to do that for you. Proposed project budget. Now, this is just a hypothetical, and I just need to run through a few more things, but $15,000 in advertising in total, for $500 for social media ads such as Facebook ads and Instagram ads, $1,000 for local papers and radio stations, just to say, hey, here's what I'm going to give you if you can do this, and explain my reasoning behind it. 6 to 8 hours of studio time for $15,000. I'm pretty sure that's what my numbers were, but I might be able to get free studio time through my dad's friend, so that's good. And I'd like to present one of the songs I've written for the album. I'll give you a sample of how this album would go. Any leftover money I'd like to donate to Duck Canada, which is a local organization focused on protecting and maintaining ecosystems around us. I will now present my song. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Yo, I think you got a problem with the watershed here. This opportunity comes once and then goes and disappears. But a solution to this, close in near. If we could all stand up and listen, well, I'm here. I've got something I think is a cure. So no time to go weeper, go shit here. So tell you what it is. It's the Saskatchewan watershed, which also is an outer spread 225 kilometers stretch across the land. Some of it is water land, crossed with prairie and our grassland. We need to alter it. Our watersheds, it's up to us to go and doctor it. Chances we need to fix this. It's not out of reach. We've got to hold on to this and make ends meet, work as a community so we can take this opportunity, move forward every day, start the advance. Being ecologically friendly isn't a game of chances. Facts, corporation and government pay attention to circumstance. We all live here. Time to take a proper stance. Preserving more power by turning off your lights, open your window. Yeah, how bright the sun shines when you pick up your bottle. Look at the bottom, see something common. Almost forgot it. The triangle's in display. It's the opposite of say, because now you don't need to go and throw it away. And here's to the final. You can now recycle, dig heels in the ground, stand out from the crowd. Making this difference will benefit all without a doubt. Our world is large, you may not know where to start. Recycling can and it could go so far. Sure may not be state of the art, but I'm here to impart the ways of being better. And I tell you now, they sure aren't scars. My conclusion, this project means a lot to me, as this Saskatchewan watershed is on Treaty 6 territory. The protection of this land is important, not only for the environment, but spiritually and personally. Being a First Nations nature advocate, this project would be a major accomplishment and bring me one step closer to making my dream become a reality. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope we can put this project into action. It's been an honor to make it this far and present my creativity for you.
Hi, Byron. Thanks so much. Really appreciated hearing your work. That was great. You're very gifted musically. I'm wondering if you had any more specific, you've approached the idea of broad awareness of the watershed in your music. Yeah. Are there any specific messages that you're looking at putting into the album?
A few of my other songs have talked about how, the watershed is connected to Saskatoon and that we need to protect, our watershed because not like it's flowing, like it's our like drinking water, it's our, and everything downstream. So it's kind of like I'm telling kind of the story through other songs. It's just like, hey, this is, this is why it's really important to me. Like this is why it's important to all of us and for the entire planet.
Okay, thank you for that. How many songs would be on this album?
Right now I've got 3 to 4 written, but I mean, yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good size.
Got a follow-up question to what Twyla was asking, but first I want to say that was incredible. You gave me goosebumps with your song, and so thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Around the songs that you have written, I'm wondering if there's different themes within them.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, if you want to expand on that.
So that first one is kind of like it's kind of like a combination of all of them, sort of. So it's like it explains what it is, why it's important, and I've got a few others that would be kind of in the middle about the consequences of not taking care of the watershed. So it'd be like, this is what's going to happen if we don't start living more sustainably, start taking action, start doing what you can do right now. And I think, at the end of the album, it kind of talks about, but there's still hope. We can still live our lives and do these things to make the world a better place.
Yeah, I really appreciate that framing of the storytelling. You kind of lay out the reality and the consequences, but to empower people with an opportunity to take action and a bit of hope in there too. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just think that's a great way to bring awareness out for people out there on what exactly a watershed is, because I think there's a lot of people that don't know when you talk about watershed, what is it, right? So
Yeah.
I think it will send the message pretty good. Thank you.
I just want to get people locally to, see like, hey, we have to recognize this.
Right.
I just want to comment on something Teresa said. It is so true. There are many, many people who still don't know what a watershed is, or they're not familiar with the term. And I find that even some teachers, when I'm in classrooms, they actually learn a lot too when we do watershed presentations, because it's not something that, it's only something that really very recently has been started to be taught in the classrooms, and the term watersheds being used is, it's like I said, when I was young, back in the Stone Ages, we didn't learn about what a watershed was, and we didn't know. So now that kids are finding out what they are, they're learning how to better take care of them, which is so important. So.
And I think the one thing that I really like about my project here is that it doesn't have a demographic of people that it's aimed at, or like an age category. It's just everyone can, relate and listen.
Crayola Color Cycle Program. I live in the South Saskatchewan River watershed. I think that there is a big issue with the number of markers being thrown out. The ink markers are causing tons of waste in our watershed. I believe that we should encourage these markers to be recycled. It will help the environment greatly. Ink markers are a problem. I think that if more marker containers were recycled, it would reduce plenty of waste. There are 2 possible programs that could benefit our watershed. These programs include the TerraCycle program, which is partnered with Staples, and the Crayola Color Cycle program. One of the best marker recycling programs in Canada is the TerraCycle program. The TerraCycle program and Staples have partnered with each other. Together, they provide a place that people can take their used dead markers to. This program will accept numerous ink markers and will recycle them. If you use the TerraCycle program, you will have to pay for shipping. There are 300 locations across all of Canada. Through in-store drop-off and collection, the company has managed to save over 2 million markers from ending up in our landfills and polluting our watershed. The TerraCycle program will be a great help to our watershed. Crayola Canada has a color cycle program that recycles ink markers. This program will take used markers, highlighters, or dry erase markers and will recycle them. The Crayola Classica program will also accept other markers of other brands, not just Crayola. In our school, we can set up a collection area for these used markers. We can then pack those used markers up and mail them to Crayola to be recycled. Our school can print off shipping labels. FedEx will ship the used markers back to Crayola, and Crayola will pay for the shipping. Saskatchewan is one of the 9 regions eligible for this program. Using the Color Cycle program from Crayola Canada, we can reduce the amount of waste ink markers creates. I believe that we can make a difference to help our watershed. My school can use the Crayola Color Cycle program to recycle ink markers. We can store the markers into boxes waiting to be shipped to Crayola. The oldest class in the school can be in charge of collecting and counting the ink markers. My school can then print off a shipping label, and FedEx will ship the ink markers back to Crayola to be recycled. My school can start in September 2021. Using this program, everything will be free and we will be helping the environment. The Crayola Color Cycle program is currently paused due to COVID-19. During this time, our school can still collect the ink markers and store them into boxes waiting for the program to resume. I have talked to my principal and he's completely on board about using this program. The Crayola Color Cycle program is completely free of any cost. There are many environmental benefits if we recycle ink markers. When we recycle, it uses 50% less energy than when being manufactured from scratch. When we recycle, it also will save space in our landfills. Another advantage of recycling is it won't cause pollution. There are many environmental benefits if we recycle these ink markers. Having dumps and landfills in a watershed can lead to harmful effects on water quality of one or more dumps draining these watersheds. Dumps can also affect underground wells and springs. The chemicals leave from the dump into groundwater. Using the Color Cycle program from Crayola Canada, we can reduce the number of product in the dump. Only one marker at a time will have an impact, and the damage is a result of overfilled landfills and garbage. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. By 2030, substantially reduce waste generated through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse. Goal number 14, life below water. By 2025, prevent and significantly reduce marine pollution of all kinds, in particular from land-based activities including marine debris and nutrient pollution. There are millions of tons of plastic waste worldwide every year. By reducing or eliminating the impact of marker containers into landfills, it will help me do my part to reduce the waste and harmful impact of plastic garbage. There are many companies and organizations attempting to reduce the amount of plastic waste by recycling markers. The main programs in Canada are the TerraCycle program partnered with Staples and the Crayola Color Cycle program. These initiatives encourage schools and individuals to collect and send their dead markers to be used. Every marker turned in and recycled is one less marker sitting in our landfills. The landfills are overfilled and the chemicals and waste from the disposal of the garbage leach into the ground and into our watershed system. This ultimately leaches into our drinking water supply. It affects our soils, animals, crops, etc. 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic waste have been generated in the world since the 1950s. Our oceans are filled with 8 million metric tons of plastic yearly. This is not a new problem or an easily fixed one. I suggest my small initiative of collecting and recycling ink markers at my school will be an achievable plan to do my part to reduce, reuse, and recycle, help our world one marker at a time.
Katie, thank you so much for the presentation. And you know what, I still have a box of Crayola markers from my kids' school days in the basement. And you reminded me of an option there for me to recycle them. So thank you for that. I'm wondering though, you mentioned that there were no costs associated with this project, but who pays for the shipping of the markers back to Crayola?
The Crayola company itself will pay for the FedEx to ship the markers back to Crayola for the markers to be recycled. So it's the company itself that pays for it.
So how does that work exactly? You send it sort of COD, or do they provide you with shipping labels in advance?
You will have to print off the shipping labels. Like at my school will print off the shipping labels.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Katie, I've got a question for you. Thank you for your presentation. I really enjoyed it, and one of the parts that stuck out to me or captured my attention was being able to engage other students in the school. And you mentioned that some of the other would help in rolling out the program, and I was just wondering how you encouraged or brought people along to participate with you in that?
I talked to my principal and he's completely on board about using this program. So I just have to speak with my classmates and I'm sure they would love to help.
Okay, thank you.
I noticed you had a very colorful collection box poster. That's something you did yourself, or is that something you created?
I got it off the internet because I haven't started an actual project yet because I'm planning to start in September this year.
Okay, so hi, I'm Reese.
And I'm Talia.
And this is our presentation. We believe that it's important to show and explain to the public about our watershed because it's important to know and educate ourselves about the problems in our watershed and how we should take better care of it. The reason we chose to do our ideas is because it's important to show the message for people to see and share with others, and ours is in like outside in the public, so lots of people will see it. Our plan is something that we both like and enjoy. Like we have a very passionate feeling about art, and we're really like good at it. But not only will this bring vibrancy to our community, but we'll also be sharing an important message. At first, we thought of painting our mural when the weather got nicer, but because weather can be unpredictable during the spring, we have agreed to paint it during the summer. This is like our concept art.
So this is what we are planning to do. And on the left side of the canvas, with the darker colors, it's showing a more negative side that shows not really what we want. And on the other side, which is it shows brighter colors that are, something you would want to see. You want to see the happier side, and we want the environment to look like that, not the left side. This is just a rough draft, so the actual mural itself will be a bit neater and it will have more details in it. So
yeah, and well, the left side is kind of portraying what our future is kind of like heading towards right now, but the right side is supposed to be what we want, and we use like dark colors so it because people will portray cold colors with like bad and then warm colors with good, so we did cold and warm colors for the sides to portray the like right meaning.
For our location, we chose to paint on a power box in our school's park, which is Greystone Heights. The box is a kind of boring pale blue color, which is not as fun to look at as if there was, colors on it, and it would be sharing something that's very important for people to know. So we're hoping the colors would draw people's attention to just stop and take a minute out of their day to look at it and just like analyze it and see what the message is and share that message with other people. For the scale of how big the box is, we have a picture of Reese on the side, and she is standing next to the power box. So the power box is roughly 112 centimeters, which is about 3'7" in feet, and Reese is 165 centimeters, which is about 5'4" in feet. So that's how someone around that height would view that box.
That's just for like a scale image.
Okay. For the permission, we do have yet to get permission from the city of Saskatoon to paint the power box. However, if we don't, that is completely okay. And we have spoken to our principal about painting it on a wall at our school. And maybe we can get in touch with another organization somewhere in the city to paint a bigger canvas, maybe a bigger wall that would draw more people and more people would be able to see. So.
The whole reason we chose to do this idea is to inspire people to take part in taking care of our community and watershed. Our goal is for people to walk by and take a couple of seconds or just like a minute to analyze, like, and just like consider what our mural, like the meaning behind it. As for the budget, we're only getting the important materials we need for our mural. The only supplies we would need to invest in is like the paint and varnish, and we're getting red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, and then black and white, so we can mix any colors that we need, so it's like only the necessary stuff. But for other supplies, we're gonna get old clothes and rags and a tarp to keep it safe if it's like raining. Also like yogurt containers for paint water and like paint trays. And if we get to paint on like a bigger canvas, our budget will be slightly higher as we'll need more materials.
Our budget is also $135.25. But as we said, the budget could be higher because we would need more paint and maybe more materials to paint it with. For our sustainable goals, our mural kind of falls under a few. The art will show the watershed environment, what will look like and take part, and if we take better care of our watershed, and therefore that will inspire people to take more action on it. And that can lead to good health and well-being because the water we use to drink and cook and just use in our everyday lives may be cleaner. It improves clean water sanitization because we use it in our daily lives. On the bad side of our mural, there is trash all over the environment, and trash can enter the storm drains and those drain right into the river. This is bad for the fish and other living organisms inside the water. Trash could also end on dry land because it can just wash up on shore, or there's other animals like birds that can fly and they catch their fish from the water and they can get caught in plastic or garbage and that can harm them as well. So we don't want that.
Overall, we think it's important to teach ourselves and others about the problems and how we need to fix them. Some might say, what's in it for me? But what's really in it is for you is like your whole world. But like, we just need, we can just, like, it's about the water that we intake in our bodies. And if it's better, then we'll be healthier.
We are very grateful to have the opportunity to educate ourselves about these things and also be able to educate others because we all want to be a part of a solution of having a cleaner and healthier watershed.
Yeah, that's the end of our presentation.
Thank you, girls.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity.
Hi, Reese and Tally. This is Twyla here. I just wanted to say thank you very much. I really appreciate the idea behind your inspirational mural. And I think it's something I'd love to see when I go walking out. So I hope that you get a chance to maybe scale it up someday. I'm wondering about how to help people interpret the meaning of your mural. And have you thought about how you could maybe, when people walk by and they see it, not everybody's going to understand what your mural is about. How do you think you could help them with that?
Maybe we think in the big thing, we'll have more details that'll hopefully give off more clues of what it's about, and there'll be wording on it, so that'll explain it a bit. So we're hoping that people who, take a minute to look at it will, read it and see it and hopefully interpret it and what we're wanting them to.
And if they don't understand or like get it, hopefully they just think it's a pretty mural.
I appreciate that. I was thinking about it as you were talking about it, and I thought maybe, I don't know how you could do it, but you could video yourselves while you're painting it, and you could be talking about it. You could put that video somewhere and then somehow give people a link to that video so they could watch it as they're walking by or something. Anyway, that's all I was thinking about. I really like your idea. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you both. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I live in downtown Saskatoon, and I always get a kick out of the painted power boxes everywhere I go in Saskatoon. So I think I'd encourage you to try to get the city to help you with that. And but the question I had was, if you end up having to put it on the wall of the school, is that do you have a site that's highly visible to the public, not just to the school students?
Yeah, it's by like the tarmac, and like at our school, lots of people from like our like neighborhood will just go by, and like lots of people will play basketball, and like there's lots of people walking all the way. Like it's visible, and if someone saw it from far away and was really interested, they definitely go and walk up and like look at it.
It's in very open space that many people can see it, and they can even see it from afar if you don't want to go near it, but you can still see it because it's a big open wall. So we're hoping that people will still be able to see it.
Thank you.
I have one question, but I'll start by thanking you as well. I really liked the idea also behind your inspirational mural. I'm in the hat I'm wearing in the judging. I'm the city councilor for the area that you're talking about. So if you need some help reaching out to the city around the boxes, just let me know. But I'm wondering if you could tell me a bit about the concept for the mural and maybe why you chose not to include water within the image, and kind of a bit of the concept or further information about the concept.
One thing, well, we were planning on putting like having a river in the background, but really like our concept art is just like rough concept art because we did plan to put it in, but when I was painting it, I really didn't like how it looked, and I just decided to paint over it and do something else. And so maybe in the final thing we may like put actual water in it because we were planning on doing it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I had a similar question. It looked as though it's a sort of like a thought bubble in the center there. And what is your intention in terms of the content for that bubble? If you could just explain that a little bit.
The bubbles were explained so there's the more negative side that we don't want, and that's where our future is heading. So what if is on that side saying, and then on the good side is saying we did this instead, because that's what we want to do for our environment and watershed and world. So
Do you have some examples of that sort of drafted at this point in the project?
Can you say that again?
Well, you said, you talked about like, what if this versus that? And so have you sort of thought through kind of what those core messages or the subject matter might be?
Yeah, we were like, I don't know, like we had a couple other ideas, but we kind of just, I don't know, like I kind of realized that it could be difficult to like interpret, but I'm really just hoping that like with the placement and like everything, you can actually understand like what we're trying to get across.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a very creative process, and you're trying to bring in a lot of different elements. So, well, I wish you all the best with that. It's an exciting concept. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mason bees for our watershed. Plants are virtually everywhere, and they're indispensable to the South Saskatchewan River watershed. Plants rely on countless systems to survive, including pollination. Mason bees are native pollinators to Saskatchewan, and they've had a decrease in population of 6.6% per year. This project plans to build 10 mason bee habitats. A watershed is the area of land that drains all the water into a common outlet. I live in Saskatoon, which is located in the South Saskatchewan River watershed. In Saskatoon, we're lucky to have the Meewasin Valley Authority that strives to ensure a healthy river valley through a balance of human use and conservation. There are 3 ecozones in the South Saskatchewan River watershed. Saskatoon is located in the prairie ecozone. Pollination is an essential ecological function, and without it, all of Earth's terrestrial ecosystems would be destroyed. Mason bees are native pollinators to Saskatchewan, and they've had a decrease in population of a mean 6.6% per year. The graph on the right shows the mason bee threat status compared to other major North American insect groups. The primary reasons for the decrease in mason bee population are invasive species, climate change, pesticides, and habitat loss. I've already built and plan to install 10 mason bee habitats within roughly 1 kilometer of the river. Each habitat can support up to 10 mason bees. I've also confirmed multiple locations in which to install the habitats. I will message 80 of my contacts, instructing and encouraging them to build a habitat on their own. This project will help our watershed through increasing plant growth, decreasing eutrophication, and increasing habitat for insects and animals. Pollination is a process of transferring pollen to a stigma to allow fertilization. Approximately 85% of plants require pollination to reproduce. The graph on the right shows the mason bee pollination rate compared to honeybees. If there are more mason bee habitats, there will be an increased mason bee population, which will result in more plants being pollinated. Furthermore, if more plants are being pollinated, that will directly increase plant growth. The definition of a habitat is the natural environment of an organism. Plants provide habitat for the vast majority of life in the South Saskatchewan River watershed, including the white-tailed deer, the coyote, and the beaver. One leaf can provide a habitat for dozens of insects. Additionally, plants provide a habitat for all of us through filtering carbon dioxide from the air through photosynthesis. Each leaf produces, on average, 5 milliliters of oxygen per hour. An increase in plant life will directly affect their insect and animal population. After all, to save a species, save a habitat. Excess fertilizer runoff is extremely harmful to the South Saskatchewan River. It fuels algae and other aquatic plants to grow at a rapidly unhealthy rate. When algae die, decompose in a way that removes oxygen from the water, and fish are unable to survive in these low oxygen conditions. If there are more plants, more fertilizer will be taken up before it can reach the river. This will reduce the amount of fertilizer going into our river and repurpose it into healthy plant growth. Here's an image of one of the habitats that I built. I've actually got one with me right here. Each of the holes are 6 inches deep to prevent birds from eating the mason bees. The paint clearly isn't there to look good. It's there to aid the bees in distinguishing their nests apart. Once installed, the habitats will face south in order to maximize the amount of sunlight and keep the bees warm. The holes are drilled on a slight upward angle to prevent water from accumulating. I will install the habitats on May 15th because the odds of there being snow on the ground during this time are extremely low. The total cost of this project was only $36.14. I would like to thank Jean Lutmer for funding half of the total cost. This project could easily be implemented all over the South Saskatchewan River watershed because of how accessible and affordable the materials are and how simple the labor is. All I did to build it was take an 8-foot long 4x4 wood post, cut it into 10 pieces, drill 6-inch deep holes in the sides, and put paint around the holes. I will also raise awareness by messaging 80 of my contacts, instructing and encouraging them to build a habitat on their own. The 15th Sustainable Development Goal is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably managed forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. My project addresses all of these issues for a low cost through increasing plant growth, decreasing eutrophication, and increasing habitat for insects and animals. Thanks a lot for listening to my presentation.
So John, is there any maintenance that needs to be done to these boxes when you have them out? Do you have to check them, or in the fall, do you have to go and make sure they're cleaned out, or how are they taken care of?
So I wasn't planning on doing maintenance because the habitats are installed on private properties, and it's fairly difficult and complicated with the changing regulations during COVID-19 to go from household to household. But depending on the COVID restrictions, hopefully I can get some maintenance and check and see if they need to be cleaned out. Although I designed them, and I'm hoping that that won't be necessary.
Okay, thank you.
John, I wonder if you give me an idea of the relative importance of mason bees versus honeybees as pollinators in this area. Do you have a sense of that?
Well, mason bees are native pollinators to Saskatchewan, and they are really, really good pollinators. So compared to honeybees. So that's why I think it's really, really important to build up the population of mason bees rather than honeybees.
Thank you. And I was going to ask as well, that design for a habitat for the bees, is that something that you created yourself, or did you find it somewhere?
So it's a combination of a couple things. I've found designs like that, some kind of like that in some places, such as usforestry.gov, I think it was. But basically, most mason bee habitats, the one thing they have in common is a 5 by 16 inch hole that's around 4 to 6 inches deep. So I tried to use that in this design to make it as cheap and efficient as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to know, John. Well, first of all, thank you for an excellent presentation. It seems like a really accessible solution, and I just wondered how you were able to access the materials and build it, and if other schools and students wanted to do the same kind of a project, do you have any thoughts on how that could happen?
The tools I used to get the materials I needed to build this project was, I think all the supplies came from Home Depot actually, and they had these supplies in massive quantities. So I think it'd be very possible for this project to expand to other schools, organizations, or even on a government level.
Yeah, even I wondered if in shop class might be a good project. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
John, I'm wondering if you could tell me a bit more about the paint. You mentioned it's so that the bees can identify which home is theirs, and it's not something I've seen before. And so I was just wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about that.
So mason bees' traditional habitats are holes in trees made by woodpeckers or other birds trying to eat beetles. So there's usually not so many in one condensed area. So to aid the bees in the holes look fairly identical if it weren't for the paint. So to aid the bees in distinguishing the nests apart, that's what the paint is for. So I used very, very different colors with very simple yet fundamentally different designs to aid the bees in distinguishing the nests apart. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess just in follow-up to the first question, because they're all on private property, but you'll have one, I think, in at your home, will you be able to go out and kind of check how it's working and whether or not any modifications need to happen, or maybe one design is more appealing than the other?
So I will for sure be checking the ones in my backyard and seeing if they're populated, and using that information to, when I send the to contacts, I'll use that information to further convince them, hopefully, and that was sort of my plan. But I'll try to get out to the properties where I install them, but I just can't confirm anything.
Yeah,
like that.
and safety is important right now, so that's why I was wondering kind of within your yard. But thank you so much for all the considerations you took in the design and implementation of this. It's an exciting project, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, John. I have one, a quick question for you. You'd mentioned what the hole diameter was, but I missed it. What was that?
I think it's a 5 by 16 inch, I believe.
5/16?
I think, yeah. And mason bees are relatively small compared to other bees, so that's why it's a good size.
Yeah, and I took a look at the wood that when you held up your sample there, it looks like you didn't use a treated wood, you used an untreated wood?
Yeah, this is sienna.
Sienna, okay. Yeah. I was just wondering if you had an idea of how long the wood might last and when you might have to replace these things.
So I don't know exactly, but according to the Home Depot website, I believe, I'm not 100% on this, sorry, but I believe it was around a year or two, but I'll make sure to look into that. Thanks a lot for your thought.
Okay, awesome. And if you ever have any extra ones, let me know.
Will do.
Okay.
All right, so that concludes our presentations. We'll take a short break.
My name is Phoebe, and my Caring for Our Watersheds project is called Garbage Gobblers. Garbage Gobblers is a series of colorfully painted trash cans with lids that not only encourage, but bring awareness to the proper disposal of personal protective equipment and prevent trash from going out of our trash cans into storm drains which lead directly to our river. Behind me here, you see one of the trash cans that inspired the project. This is what we have for its proposed design. By using a series of colors and slogans that speak to our subconscious mind and designs that intrigue children who may influence their parents, the likelihood of the can being used increases, leaving our watersheds cleaner.
Welcome back, everyone. So Teresa Usselman of Nutrien will now deliver a message from Nutrien before we get to the announcement of the top 10 placements.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for your presentations for this final competition today. Nutrien is the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services, reaching every major growing region of the world, in addition to the important role we play in supporting growers to sustainably feed a growing population. Nutrien strives to meaningfully contribute to communities globally and locally where we operate. You all deserve to be commended on the amount of hard work and long hours you put into your projects. Each one of you should be very proud of what you've accomplished today. Nutrien recognizes the importance of the environment to all of us, and we are very honored to be sponsoring the competition. There are 9 contests internationally held each year across North America and Argentina. And Nutrien continually works to minimize our environmental footprint, and we invest in environmental programs and innovations such as the one presented today. In fact, Nutrien has agreed to donate $10,000 to implement your ideas, and we want to see them move forward. Together, we must all constantly look for ways to innovate, improve, and increase our positive impact on the environment. There are no easy answers to these challenges that lay ahead, but with the knowledge gathered and the drive of everyone here today, we can make a big difference in our effort to take care of our watersheds. Sharing environmental solutions is important, and now is the time to make these ideas happen. It is all up to us to make a difference in our watersheds. So I'd like to just everyone join me in congratulating everybody.
Thank you, Teresa. We're very grateful to Nutrien for all of the opportunities that they provide for these students year after year. So I guess now is the moment we've all been waiting for. All right, I just want to say before we announce the order of the top 10 that one of our WISE top 10 students said the other day that he said Saturday is going to be a great day no matter what, because everyone in the top 10 were already winners. So I happen to agree with him, and I couldn't be more proud of all of you for your work this year. I was so happy I was still able to work with you, even if it was just over Zoom and Teams and Google Meet. So I just want to thank you for all of your hard work and for expressing your ideas so passionately. You all made excellent presentations today. So without further ado, in 10th place with a prize of $300 is Jessa and Jasleen from St. Francis Bateman School in Saskatoon. In 9th place with a prize of $350 is Reese and Talia from Greystone Heights School in Saskatoon. In 8th place and a prize of $400, Katie from Holy Trinity Catholic School in Warman. In 7th place and a prize of $450, Caitlin from St. Francis Bateman School in Saskatoon. In 6th place and a prize of $500, Cheyenne from Lord Asquith School in Asquith. In 5th place and a prize of $600, Sarah and Caitlin from Greystone Heights School in Saskatoon. In 4th place and a prize of $700, Jacob from Montgomery School in Saskatoon. In 3rd place with a prize of $800, Rafe and Anas from Regina Huda School in Regina. In 2nd place with a prize of $900, Byron from Tommy Douglas Collegiate in Saskatoon. So that makes our 1st place winner this year, John from Montgomery School in Saskatoon, with a prize of $1,000. Fantastic, everybody. I'm so proud of you all. The other great thing about this, for anybody who does not know, is that the amount of prize money that you will be receiving for yourselves, your school is going to be getting the matching amount from Nutrien. And remember, there is that $10,000 pot of implementation money that we have for anybody who wants to implement. So we encourage, I'll be sending out the implementation forms to everybody, even the ones who didn't place in the top 10, because they're still eligible as well to implement their projects. We want as many as we can implemented. So we are very happy with how this year went, especially in the wake of COVID and all of the challenges it brought. But like I said before, I'm so proud of every one of you for your determination. Sorry. I've loved working with every one of you, and it's been an amazing year. So thank you very, very much. So yeah, and to your parents, your teachers, couldn't do it without them either. So again, we thank you for being part of today. We are making a video that will be available on YouTube next week for all of your classmates, your friends, your family, whoever you're willing to share it with, I suppose, right? I know a lot of you were nervous, or all of you were nervous, but hopefully this was a great experience for you all and that you learned a lot. And we were all blown away by your presentations. So amazing. Okay, so I hope to see, no matter what school you're at next year, you can always enter this competition again. You can use the, same idea, use the comments from the judges from your written proposals and enter again if you feel, or come up with a totally new idea. So I look forward to seeing you compete again next year. Thanks, everyone. So I'll be sending out a link with the video as soon as it's ready, okay? And we will be getting your checks distributed soon as well.
And thanks, Sue, for putting this all together. It was different this year.
Yes, it definitely was, wasn't it, Teresa?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an experience, but I think still a good one that we were able to do this for the students, because last year with the timing of everything, COVID hit and everything kind of got canceled. And so it was really anticlimactic for last year's entrance to not have a finals to compete in. So I'm very happy that Nutrien decided early on, let's go ahead with and plan for online, so that we had a lot of time to figure out some of the logistics and make this a special day for you guys. So
thank you, Sue. That was great. Well done.
okay. Well, thank you, Bob. Thanks. Yes. And thanks to all of our judges today. Your input is invaluable. So we're very, very happy that you could join us.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks everyone. You're free to go, and like I said, I will send the video links as soon as our video editor has everything ready. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time and everything.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. My pleasure.